My name is Judy Berman. I'm 65 years old. I'm lucky enough to know a little something about computers and smartphones and email and internet. I thank largely that my older son, Gerald, who is now 34, uh, forced me, practically kicking and screaming, to get smartphones. And he taught me a lot of stuff. Now, in the background here, in this picture, this is my father on the left, my left. His name is Andy Spitz, and he's 90 years old. He's wearing a mask and gloves. And on the right is my mother, Ruth Spitz, and she's 88, and she's wearing a mask and gloves. And the good news is that after some trials and tribulations, managed to get her an appointment vaccinated at a Walgreens. This is, well, she was sitting and waiting for her vaccination at the Walgreens, and they took care of her. We checked her in, and then she waited afterwards. And it was an ordeal getting an appointment. It's unbelievable that an 88-year-old and a 90-year-old almost could fall through the cracks if they don't have some kind of computer or email ability. They were eligible on day one for vaccines. And I couldn't imagine them having to stand and wait on a line at a Javits Center or a City Field or even a York College, even though York College, no offense to York College, it has accessibility to parking and everything. But what a dramatic ordeal, and how traumatic for old people who have no knowledge, barely a concept of what the computers are and everything. My father, in his childhood, when he had to speak to a doctor, they had to go by horse and buggy to the only phone in his town in Hungary, in the mountains of Edebania near Debrecen, where when he stayed in the summers with his grandparents, he went by horse and buggy over to the only phone in the town where there was a post office, and they would get a telegram saying, be at the post office at 1 o'clock, the doctor's going to call you. And then they had to go into town for the doctor to talk to them when he had an ear infection when he was staying with his grandparents. And this was a lifetime, maybe 3 lifetimes ago. He's 90. This happened in his childhood, before the war, before the Holocaust, when in the mountains in Hungarian countryside. And my mother was born during the Depression. In her childhood, they only had phones on a floor of an apartment building. And it's unbelievable now. I had to put her into an app and give her an email address and a cell phone number and get her into the system in an app with her own account online in order to be able to get her an appointment for the vaccine. My father had been able to get into the system for NYU Langone because somebody spoke to them and he had an appointment recently, and so he got into the system, he got his vaccinations. I tried to put my mother into NYU Langone, into an app, but her name hadn't come up. She hadn't been seen recently, so her name didn't come up for a vaccine. So I had to put her into an app for Walgreens, and thankfully she finally got a vaccine in a convenient neighborhood location, even though they had to come with Accessoride, and it happened to be a cold day, but we got it done. It took us a couple of months. It's unbelievable, and it's surreal that we went through this. Now, I'm glad I was able to help. Basically, I have some computer background. Now I have some case manager background. Thank you.